Hey gang, so when last we left this little world of whatever the hell its name is, we unlocked the next level of this space elevator, so let's take a little gander up here, obscured by clouds as it is. Anyway, what happens with the next phase is that we unlock oil, or we unlocked oil. Now, oil comes with a few things that we're going to need before we can actually exploit that research. And the first thing is motors. You need a ton of motors. You need computers. You need, let's see, plastic and rubber. And then you can start building out oil power plants, which are much more efficient than the coal ones that we're using now. They produce a lot more power. Yeah, so this playthrough, you kind of see that I'm already kind of working on stuff. This is going to be a factory that produces motors. And if I've done my math right, it should be about 20 motors a minute. I am also going to have it produce about 40 stators because stators you use to make motors, but I don't have a factory that makes them yet, and motors make the most sense. So we're going to build this factory up. This is going to start pushing the boundaries of what our coal power plants can handle. But it should give us enough commodities or enough items that we can actually start unlocking oil. And once we can unlock oil, we can kind of fast track ourselves up to oil power. So if that sounds good, let's get this. Okay, for you all, it's a simple cut to black. For me, it's been 5 days while I went and looked at puppies. So what was I doing here? Let's see. We've got power. That's good. What do we got over here? Iron. Oh. Ow. Copper and coal. I was making motors. Okay. This is the motor stator factory. All right, let's get back to this. I guess I could show you what I got so far. I really need to research explosives. That'll probably be next on the list. Yeah, so here we go. So we got foundries here. And then we should have stairs right over here. Good, passed me 5 days ago. Actually was doing something right. Those will lead down to the storage units. We've got smelters there, and we've got constructors there. So these are going to be making the stators. Okay, so these are making stators, and then up here is going to be the assemblers that are going to start putting together the motors. Half of these, probably this side over here, I'm going to have just be stators, because you need stators as their own thing because they go into other things. And then this will be motors, and this side will be making stators for motors. This side will be making stators, for lack of a better term. What are these making? Steel pipes. Okay, yeah, those go into making them too. So I probably have that split into two. So there'll be another level right up here. They'll be making the motors. This side will all be making stators just to make stators. And then we'll have a train probably looping in from here to take it back to the space elevator. All right, I'll catch me a couple. Okay, so here we go. So we've got half of the copper coming in, making smelters. Again, we're going to repeat this whole thing over on this side, and that's going to make the stators for the motors. This one is just making stators for stators, basically. And not incredibly fast yet, but as the efficiency ramps up, it'll start making more and more and more. You can see that there are 8 here. Once all of those have their full production line in, we'll be rocking. So I'll start producing them quicker. Let's see. At the moment, I have it, so this is producing 40 stators per minute. Right now, it's probably producing like 10. So this will increase by 4 times once everything fills up and it's going correctly. You can see that the pipes are already backing up, but that's because that production line has been going. All right, so now let's duplicate this on the other side and get our motors going. I've already kind of started building out what the eventual architecture will be for this one. Have a couple little plans, but haven't quite finalized them yet in my head, but we'll get there. Check back in a couple seconds. Okay, so here we are at the motor factory. These are the 4 assemblers that'll be making the motors. Let me check my notes. This should, when everything is humming, make 20 motors per minute, which is pretty good. Let's take a look what's happening. So this is mostly the iron down here. Like I said, if we go down these stairs, all of this over here, you can sort of see them right there, the stators. And so the stators are feeding into, turn off the light there, half of these for motors. And then all the rest of this is making rotors for the motors. And it'll take a little while to spin those up. Obviously, the stators have been going the entire time I've been building this line, so stators are fine. In fact, I would expect these things to be filled with stators. It's just the rotors they're lacking at the moment. And rotors, you can sort of see that these are turning green as they get ready to go. These should still be yellow as it trickles in. I do need to double check and make sure everything's linked up. I think right now it's screws. They're going slow. Yeah, there we go. Now they're all green. Screws are going to be kind of the hold up. You can sort of see that these guys are all yellow over there. So screws will probably, those will bulk up eventually, but rods will produce a little bit faster, which is fine. Once rods back up, then the ore backs up, and then it starts building the screws more, then it feeds in, then it feeds the whole system. And again, you can sort of see building right to left. You can see down here, the line down there is kind of coming in this way and going that way. And then it'll start pushing out motors. Now, why motors? So let's take a little trip back to the space elevator now that this thing is producing. Before we head back, I just wanted to show this. So you can sort of see our max construction right now is sitting right up here at 2850. Our production is 3000. So we are right on the line now. So if I build something else, I'll probably have to start shutting off one of the bases, and that is why I put the power switch on the front of the base, because now I can shut off the iron base while I build that other base and gradually build up to power. And speaking of, now let's go back to the main base. Okay, so we're back at our main base here. Let me tell you why motors. So there is a couple things you got to do first. I was waiting on the jetpack. Let's hold off on that right now. I kind of want to, well, actually, I could just kind of click through. Unfortunately, the jetpack, I believe, needs oil in order to work. You might be able to use coal, but I think you need actual fuel. So this is what we need to unlock next. And this unlocks the refinery, which, well, the oil extractor pumps up oil, and then the refinery refines it. That you never would have guessed that. And the refinery produces 3 things, actually 4 things. It produces petroleum, coke, plastic, and rubber, and fuel. So it produces these 4 things. This is kind of a byproduct that you can use to make plastic. So it takes in oil and it makes these 4 things that are kind of final products. But unfortunately, you can't unlock power until you're over here, and you can see one of the unlocks is rubber and plastic. So you have to have a refinery in order to make those. You can't just pick up a bunch of oil with your hand, come over to the crafting bench, and make plastic and rubber. It just doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, the oil extractor and the refinery, as you might have guessed, are very expensive power-wise. And so you kind of need to go a little bit light on this, and this is why I was saying having the ability to shut off these bases, because I probably have enough iron stuff now. I could shut down this entire base and buy myself a lot of power to build rubber, and once I run out of materials, then I can flip it back on, and hopefully by then I have petroleum power, which these things generate a huge amount of power, almost, I think almost double. So with that in mind, and also that's when you can really unlock Kateria more, whole bunch of things built in here, but the order that you want to unlock things is oil processing, petroleum power, and then you can kind of swing back and unlock everything else, because you start getting some really cool things up here, like the monorail. All right, gang, with that in mind, catch you next time.